too much. And then tonight is Parent University. For those of you who haven't heard of Parent University, Parent University is something that we started this year to really try to connect with you as parents. Tonight's Parent University is our Eagle Expo. This is our second year with the Eagle Expo. The purpose of the Eagle Expo is to give you a lot of information, hopefully in a chunk that you can process and manage, but then also give you exposure for you guys coming into 6th grade next year. And so I have a lot of slides, and I'm going to be really respectful of time. So I'm going to try to stay within 30 minutes. Please do not hesitate to raise your hand and ask questions as we get near the end, and hopefully when we get to the end, you'll be excited about 6th grade next year. I think the first thing I need to share is, being the secondary principal, I don't really get to work with your students until 6th grade. That being said, I've been paying attention to what's going on in 5th grade. And so I always get excited about 6th grade students because, don't tell my high school kids this, they're my favorite age. I absolutely love middle school kids. I was a middle school English teacher for years. It was my favorite because they're sort of messy, but they're willing to try things, they're willing to engage, and have a lot of energy. And so we really look forward to having that in 6th grade. So as we go through tonight, what I want to capture is a little bit of some of our philosophy. Our theme at New Life Academy this year is Love, Listen, Grow. You may have heard that. I want to take a quick sort of second and explain that to you. Basically, because Christ loves us, and because we want to grow in our relationship with Christ through listening and prayer and the work that we do, we have the opportunity to grow in our own identity, in our own faith with Jesus Christ. And as an educating staff and teachers here at New Life in the secondary, because of these three things, we can love our kids the way Christ loves us. We can listen to our kids and work with them and get our hands dirty with middle school kids. And we can also help them grow. And the grow part can happen in a couple different ways. One, just naturally, they're going to grow, right? They're going to get bigger. No, you're not? Okay. I have faith that you will get bigger. You will get there. But it's also the middle school years that can be messy and mucky and sometimes difficult, where organization starts to come in differently, where social stuff changes, where the physical bodies change, and so that's the best part of the grow part. It's literally all those areas crammed into about a 3-4 year period from 6th to 9th grade. And so as we go through tonight, if you just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that's what we're going to be walking into in 6th grade. We love our kids, and we're here to listen, we're here to help them grow. We're here to make sure that they grow spiritually, academically, and socially as well. Just, you can keep those in the back of your mind as kind of our overarching thing. So, again, I will talk very fast. It's one of my blessings and curses coming out of college and loving debate and speech. So I will go very fast because I want to make sure I respect your time. We're recording. We'll send out the PowerPoint if you want to review it. But again, I want to make sure I can get through everything. So, what does it mean to be a middle schooler is what we're going to cover. Learn about some changes with this age. Learn about course offerings and registration. What is different about 6th grade. What makes 6th grade special. And then I'm going to open it up for you guys to ask me questions. After that point, the part of Eagle Expo that's been new that we've done the last few years, when you came through the grade room, you may have noticed a whole bunch of teachers standing around waiting to talk to people. All of the 6th grade teachers are out there. They're also in here tonight. Mrs. Hanson is joining us. And Mr. Moberg will be here after basketball. And then the elective teachers are there as well. If you just want to ask questions about a course, what does it mean? What does it look like? Why would my kid want to take this course? We want to give you the opportunity as parents to really just pick those teachers' brains, so you can do that as well. With that being said, just because you're 5th grade parents doesn't mean that you also can't email, make a phone call, or pull one of these 6th grade teachers aside whenever you get the chance just to ask them questions. Again, we want to come alongside you guys as parents as your kids go into middle school. All right, so the big changes, very normal. Biological, cognitive, social, and spiritual. All those are going to happen. I promise this will happen at some point. I'm not sure it's exactly 6th grade, but at some point between 6th and about 9th grade, you will wonder what happened to my straight A student, most organized, cleanly kid, or you will wonder what happened to my confident, social outgoing kid. There are just a lot of changes that happen in middle school. And parents, what I really want to encourage you is, go for the ride. Even your role is going to change in middle school a little bit and how that's handled. So just go for the ride. It's a great time of your child's life. So, the biological changes, I feel like I'm kind of a health teacher when I get to this slide, but I just want to kind of keep reminding you, there are growth spurts. Girls experience these earlier than boys, guys. Like, all of a sudden, if you start to look at 7th grade this year, 8th grade, like, wait a second, why are all our guys so short? Well, it's because they're not quite there yet. So that's going to change. Girls and boys at the same chronological age are likely to be quite different points in physical and social development. That's a big one in middle school. I talk a lot of times with kids who have matured, the kids that haven't, and they're on different sort of journeys to get to where they're at. This is where I would encourage you and parents, that's okay. That's okay. Your job as parents is to help kind of work through some of the situations they'll go through, some of the things they'll run into. And yes, hormones kick in, impact, mood swings, aggression, all the sort of normal stuff that goes on in middle school. And I can say that because I have a 16-year-old who's a junior, so we've kind of moved out of middle school. I have a freshman. She's kind of moving out of the middle school line, but I have a 6th grader right now, and pretty much all of those are accurate. And I asked permission to say that so he wouldn't be embarrassed, so he was okay with that. But some of the things you're going to see in middle school. Here's some cognitive changes. They just start to develop skills to think differently. Abstract is really a skill that starts to develop as their brain grows and they get older. They can start to differentiate better between kind of hypothetical situations and real situations and scenarios. This is a cool thing. They become more sophisticated in how they can think and how they can strategize, which plays a little bit into our 15% IP, which I'll talk a little bit about down the road. They can consider problems from many different dimensions. They can kind of try to wrestle with that. There's a big increase in self-awareness in middle school. Not only socially, but even sort of physically. They kind of become more aware of kind of who they are, kind of maybe what some of their gifts and strengths are. But they sometimes become aware of some of their shortcomings, which plays out a little bit even in some of the social stuff that happens in middle school. And I know I'm going fast. These changes, I put this in there, these changes do not necessarily make them better thinkers. They need a lot of experience exercising the skills before they can use them efficiently. That's where I really like to encourage 5th grade coming into 6th grade. It's actually okay to not do something perfect. As a matter of fact, that's great. Because in middle school, that's part of your development, to try things, to learn things, to experience, to learn from actually not succeeding, learn from failure. And so it's okay in 6th grade to start doing those types of things and getting comfortable with that. So, now, this is sometimes the harder slide for parents because of the first line up there. Now remember, all of these are sometimes. This doesn't mean that your student may do this or that. It's just things to kind of put in your wheelhouse as you get ready to enter middle school as parents. You may see a decline in academic performance as measured by grades. And for example, the locker monster. I don't know if you've heard of this creature. It's a thing that lives in your student's locker that eats 80 to 90% of their homework, and right, you've heard of this. Yeah, yes, excellent. So one that's already ahead of everyone else. Like, the student that never forgot anything, now can't seem to remember their name, it's chaotic, they're organized. So those things will happen. Again, it's a part of the process they're going through. And doesn't mean every kid will go through it, it just means just maybe put it on your radar, it might happen. There is, and this one's really important, and I think the next two are really important for you as parents. There is actually a decline in confidence in one's intellectual ability. And I usually apply that a lot to the fact because as your kids are getting older, the influence and perception of their friends is becoming more important than your influence and your perception on them. So sometimes you can actually see they kind of get nervous about things. They're a little more anxious because there's no Timmy in the room, is there? Is anyone named Timmy in the room? Okay, that's my mythical character for today. Because it's really more important what Timmy thinks about me maybe my mom and dad, so maybe I don't want to be really smart. Or maybe I don't want to ask for help. Or maybe I'm just really uncomfortable with who I am because they're starting to become more aware, they're starting to put more pressure on what my friends think. So, and this is something too, you can have an increase in test anxiety. They're going from a homeroom teacher, maybe another homeroom teacher, and a couple of elective teachers to Mr. Moberg, Mrs. Hanson. They're the homeroom teachers. But they're going to see like 5 to 6 teachers a day. So they can there's going to be some anxiety that comes about as they're kind of figuring out who they are and who they're supposed to become and what they want to do and what they're good at. This one, again, parents, this is a very important age in really coming alongside your kids and saying it's okay to fail, but it's not necessarily okay to give up, right? These are pretty important years, the next 3 years. It's okay maybe to struggle with something that you were good at, because that's good. You're being challenged, you're being stretched, but don't give up. You see, there's a really fine line there. And in middle school, particularly in 6th grade, as some of that anxiety starts to build and some of how I'm changing, I want to encourage you as parents, it's okay. Just keep trying. Just keep trying. There might be tears. There might be frustration. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the kids too. There might be those things. Yeah, see, I've just seen if you're listening. You like I played that in there? But again, I would encourage you parents, it's okay. That's a good thing. That's called grit and learning resilience and pushing toward those independence so they can kind of push through those things. So that's a good thing. But just be aware that can happen. And it starts in 6th grade. And then it's just depending on how it goes and how kids mature, it just takes a little while to work through that. And again, I underline this is the most unique part about middle school. Not all kids are the same. Some kids, you may be like, I remember Mr. Atkinson taking up like a half hour of my night telling me all this stuff. I haven't seen any of that. Awesome. And you may be another parent who's like just pulling their hair out. Everything he said, it's driving me crazy. Good. Because that's the whole process of middle school. Your student is growing up, becoming who they are supposed to be and what the Lord has planned for them. So just buckle up and ride it out. You'll be good to go. This one, I'm going to have to pick it up, and I know I'm talking a lot, so I apologize. This one is huge in middle school. Huge. And you're probably already seeing some of this in 5th grade. Much more increase on peers and conformity to peers. Because what their peers think of them is way more important than maybe what even you guys think of them anymore or other people. So they're going to start greater importance attached to peer activities. Sports, extracurriculars, clubs. They want to start pushing out and doing those more of those type of things. Cliques can start to form even a little bit more in middle school because that's where their identity. If I'm in the group with Timmy, and Timmy and I are the same, that is extremely important to me. So all my focus is going to be in there. Friendships are focused on meeting the needs for interpersonal intimacy, especially true for girls. They start to develop the need to make connections with other people, to have relationships. I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I can tell you that as parents, I want to give you a little card for your pocket here. When girls get to be juniors, and sometimes guys, but it's usually girls that come to see me or come to see the counselor, I always hear I don't have any friends. I hear that all the time. And so I go through this little Q&A with usually the students in your room. I said, really, you don't have any friends? What do you look for in friendship? And every time, they'll list a couple of different qualities. And I'll go, oh, those are really great qualities. Who do you know who has those qualities? Sure enough, guarantee, list a couple of people, 3 or 4 people. I said, okay, do you give those qualities to somebody else? And that sort of makes it a little harder. Because even in middle school, as kids start to develop, they're starting to make those relationships, they want to have those connections. Help them understand and define what friendship really means. It doesn't mean I have 500 followers on Instagram, or Snapchat, or whatever else you guys are on, I don't know. Okay? What it means is truly understanding what it means to be friends. How we treat each other, what we look for in friendship. And again, junior year, it sort of resurfaces. But I've actually started encouraging parents now, because kids are much older than they were when they were actually 6th graders when I was there. Their world is much different. So I would encourage you as parents to start talking to them even now, what does it mean to be a friend? And we know this as adults, right? We're not going to be best friends with everybody. We're not, but we have to love everybody like Christ loves everybody. But start talking to your kids right now in 6th grade. What do you want out of a friendship? If you want your friendship defined by how many followers you have, maybe you want to have a little deeper conversation with your students. Because again, it's you guys, you're helping them walk through this process. We're here to come alongside you, but these are great conversations to start having. Because again, I go back to the juniors. What always happens by the end of the conversation, he goes, you know what, I have Susie and Timmy and Sarah that are my friends, and really, do they have the qualities of work? Yeah. So I usually say, so you have 3 good friends. And 100% of the time, you say, yeah, I have 3 good friends. I said, I'm 45 years old. Do you know how many really good friends I have? And they'll guess some obscenely low number, or obscenely high number, depending on what they think I do during the day or whatever. And you know what's funny? Most of our kids, if you have these conversations with them, are way ahead of where we were as adults. Way ahead. And they've had to grow up fast. But it's just changing the perspective on how they look at things. That's going to be a great opportunity for you guys as parents to help navigate your kids as they go through it. And they leave my my office and they go, instead of coming in, I have no friends, I try to get them to leave and go, I have 3 good friends that I trust, that I have fun with, that have the same interests, that we do things together. That is a game changer. And that's what I encourage you parents as we start talking about friendships and peer groups. Start having those conversations now. So, family relations. How many people have older students? Like older kids? Okay, so I think maybe this is about. They start seeking more independence, more autonomy. They start. I'm sure none of your kids question the rules in your house yet. But at 6th grade, watch out. No, just kidding. Again, they're going to start identifying more with their peers and dress and music, and things like that. Fewer interactions and do fewer things together outside the home. Has anyone come across, I mean, I can raise my hand, this is me giving an example, come across that I'm sort of embarrassed to be by my parents yet? No, I don't, that's not a good, you shouldn't raise your hand for that, but your parents raise that one. So, you may start to run that a little bit in middle school as well, sort of that pushing for independence. But this is also one of my favorites. Come 6th grade, they've come to New Life Academy, they've had a lot of biblical integration, they have a lot of biblical worldview, but now they start to ask questions about their own faith. They're not getting deep and theological. They're not going to come home and ask you maybe deep theological questions, but they are going to start coming home and asking you some questions, maybe, hey, how does this work for me? How does it fit? What have I been taught? What does it mean to me? You'll start to hear some of those things. They want to understand the why behind the what. You hear that a lot, why. And oftentimes, maybe a rededication to their lives for Christ happens in 6th grade. One of the special things about 6th grade is Camp Forest Springs. If you've had older students and you've seen them go through New Life at the end of the year, is that like I'm excited already? Okay, that's a good sign. We go off campus, we take our kids at the end of the year. Mr. Mulberg and Mrs. Hanson do a wonderful job. We bring one of our Bible teachers. It's a great opportunity for fun. It's a great opportunity to be together as a class, but it's also a great opportunity to wrap up their 6th grade year. For lack of a better term, it's like putting a bow on the 6th grade year. We talk to them about their faith. We talk to them about getting ready to go on to the next level. It is, for me, I got to go last year for the first time. I have done trips at New Life for 20 years. It's one of the most impactful trips I've ever seen. I had a parent shows me. He took off. He's not here, so I think I can say this. You'll know what I'm talking about. He said this at the fire the night with the kids who were kind of sharing. He said, I didn't want to come as a parent chaperone on Camp Forest Springs. I wanted to watch my ESPN, my CNN, and I didn't want to take vacation time. And on the last night, it floored me, because we don't share. Staff doesn't share, teachers, things that we sort of just kind of guide each other. He said, I have never seen anything greater than this with kids. He said, I would never, ever, ever have given this up now that I've been here. It's an amazing opportunity to see 5th grade kids coming into 6th grade and seeing young little men and women getting ready to go in 7th and 8th grade. It's a really great opportunity. So we'll look forward to that. Okay. So what does it mean to be a middle schooler? Well, it's weird and it can be awkward, but I'll tell you as a middle school teacher, it's the greatest time. That's my personal opinion. It is the greatest time to be a parent because you will have to be on point at all times and navigating and shuffling and moving. But it's also, this is actually a fact. This isn't something I just made up. It can be the most challenging stage of raising a child. Now, I have a 16-year-old right now. I'm battling out between that and middle school, but it can be tough. It's also one of the most challenging phases of a student's life. I mean, there will be no more time in their lives where their growth is like it will be from now between 6th and really even 9th grade. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, it will never be the same. It's just tons and tons of activity. The changes that happen, like I said, physical, emotional, spiritual. And this is where I encourage parents, and I've shared it a little bit, from moving to kind of managers to kind of consultants. And the first time I read that, I thought, that's kind of cheesy, it doesn't make sense to me. And then I had middle schoolers, and it made sense to me. Your role as a parent is crucial in middle school. You have the ability to influence still. It's how you want to influence. And I'll go back to my friend reference. Do you sit down as your kid talks to you and cries, I have no friends, I'm lonely. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, yeah, we got to fix it. Or do you sit down with your kid and say, okay, talk to me about this. Work through this. Again, as they're processing, as they're growing, as they're changing. Your role, you're still the boss. It's kids, crystal clear, parents are the boss. But in helping them go through this really tough time, maybe just shift a little bit of the thought process of, okay, let's process through this. Because again, it's a growth period. It's a 5th grade period that's really, really important. And I am going to kick in super high, fast gear here. New Life Academy, I want to fly over this super quick. And here's the thing. Kids, you guys will hear this again in the fall. Because in middle school, we want to create a safe environment. So the reason I do this tonight is so you as parents just understand bullying happens. But what is it? What does it look like? And again, because middle school is crazy and sometimes things happen, and I want to just make sure you kind of understand that. So I am going to cruise through here. Basically, here at New Life Academy, if you haven't heard this, we define bullying in 3 areas: aggressive, imbalance of power, and continuous or repeated. So, for example, if I've ever been in a situation that I'm working through bullying, it's got to hit these 3 things, or 2 of these 3 things. If not, then we're just talking about conflict resolution. That's a very important thing. And again, you guys, students can kind of tune out because they'll hear it a little bit in the fall. But again, just so you know as parents, as you move into middle school, I think it's important that you understand how we handle these types of things as well. So again, I'm not going to read everything to you, but those are the 3 categories we look for when it comes to the social sort of bullying stuff. The other thing too is we have a policy at New Life Academy in secondary, 24 hours. And what that stands for is if you email, call, or reach out to us, myself, my staff, my teachers, they will get back to you within 24 hours. The reason we ask for 24 hours is we're sort of asking for grace, because depending on when you reach out to them, it may just depend on if they're in class till the next morning, or a lot of our teachers do a lot of other duties in the evening, so the communication policy is 24 hours or less that you should hear back. So don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone, send an email, text. I mean, we're just in that sort of day and age, and so we can address these types of things if there are issues that need to be addressed. So, academics. Basically, in 6th grade, there's some cool highlights and there's some the normal stuff. Every student will take math, every student will take English, Bible, science, social study, and then a fine arts elective with PE that they rotate on an A-B schedule, and they get to choose their fine arts. Their PE is chosen for them. But in 6th grade, you now students shift to have an opportunity to choose electives, which are classes in the fine arts, so you can choose your fine arts electives. And then also, they have what we call in 6th grade an elective period. In 6th grade, we're on a 7-period day on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we're on block days, which means our classes are about an hour and 28, am I right there? 38? Hour 28, 38 minutes long. The reason we do that is we can do some deeper dives, we can do some more activity type things in those longer blocks. And then on Thursdays, we also incorporate our chapels and our community groups, which will be new for 6th grade for you guys too next year. So, elective courses. I want to point out a few, because of the fact that you probably don't know what they mean. If you have your guide, you can read the descriptions, but I'm just going to be really upfront. Everyone scrambles for outdoor education. It's the most popular class, and I'm very compensated in the school, hands down. And that's, you can see the recommendation for that. And then STEAM, which is also, this is our 2nd year with STEAM being launched as an elective. It is, again, a great course, very popular. And then LTC Quest. That is a new course we started this year, and it is basically for students in middle school. We actually want middle school students to take this course sometime between 6th and 8th grade. We haven't officially got the star that says required, but we are strongly encouraging that course because it's about how to handle conflicts, how to be friends with peers, how to address social situations, how to develop your sort of identity and self-confidence, and that you're created by Christ and who you're supposed to be. And so those are some of the ones that I want to highlight. The rest, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. I did have a question that I was asked to address. Our personal finance class. I didn't realize this, but we are one of the few schools that offer personal finance to middle school students. It is basically, if you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, that's sort of where the curriculum comes from. I was a little nervous about this course. Another very popular course in middle school. My son came home and said, we got to find a compound interest savings account. I said, as soon as you find that, let me know and I'll put all my money in. But I'm just saying. So those are just some of the popular ones. And again, there are options within there. So the way that that works, again, I want to explain that. So you're going to be picking 2 to 3 electives when you actually register. The reason being is you have fine arts, which rotates on an A-B schedule with PE, because that's required. And then you have like what we call its 4th hour, which is the elective hour, where you'll pick one for a semester or a year long at a time. And it's explained in there, but again, grab me afterwards if you have any questions. So the other thing that 6th grade is stepping into is what we call our innovation portfolio. Starting in 6th grade, our students will be working with their science teachers to start pursuing topics or ideas that they're interested to pursue actually longer term. It's kind of, it's basically, we've taken it from 3M's model, imation, in the sense of where we encourage kids to spend time in their classes or out of class just working on ideas or concepts that they're excited about. For example, right now we have a couple of students that I can think of that jump out right now. We have 2 girls who are working on a makeup line, but all natural makeup line. They're working with a company outside of school. They're 2 8th graders. That's 8th graders. We have, this is my favorite one because I'm fishing. I'm a fishing guy. We have 2 boys who are working on a lure proposal to different companies, and they're testing their lure types to see which work for different types of fish. Now right now it's winter, but they were in the fall and the spring. And the innovation is really to get kids kind of interested in things they're excited about and let them go. They're monitored, they work on projects with their science teachers, and they let them go. If you go up to Mrs. Metalli's room, you'll see a wind machine in there today, which I don't know what that one was, but that's one of the IP projects. And so they're going to get exposed to that again in 6th grade. They're going to start working on those projects. Here's the cool thing about that. IP is not something that you necessarily like work on and then it's done and then you work on something else. IP is something that you're building towards a portfolio. If you work on it in 6th grade, you love it. When you present in the fall to your 7th grade science teachers, you want to keep doing it, keep going. You know, it's to challenge our kids, get them thinking creatively, let them work on programming, let them work on design, whatever they want to do, but really just get them passionate about being creative and being hands-on and being initiative leaders, even as young students in middle school. So those are some things that coming into 6th grade are new. It sounds overwhelming. It might be at first, but parents, I promise you, it's actually pretty cool once they get in and get going. Now, they actually can do some really cool stuff. So, the other thing too is, in middle school, we really are working on developing our middle school into its own identity. This is our 2nd year with 6th grade in middle school. New Life Academy used to be K through 6, and then 7 and 8, and then 9 through 12. And so we've really worked hard this year. We do have chapels that are just 6 through 8. Our community groups, which if you aren't aware of community groups, basically they're gender split, and the boys are with Mr. Mulberg and the girls are with Mrs. Hanson, and we spend time having fun, of course, but also addressing how do we handle social issues. And sometimes it's follow-up from chapel speakers, and sometimes it's service opportunities. And so coming into 6th grade, that's going to be a part of kind of their group, part of their kind of identity is developing into 6th grade classes. They'll get to experience community groups. Top 20 teens, that slide's in there. That refers to, if you recall, the LTC class I talked about. Again, we haven't made it officially required, but we are strongly encouraging kids between 6th and 8th grade to take that class. Just learning how to handle social situations, learning how to handle themselves, learning who they are in Christ, and basically building some skill sets that are going to be really great for them to have going on in high school. So, okay, now why you all came. So, how do I do this? Parents, welcome to middle school. You're going to have to help with this one. We really want you as parents to spend a few minutes with your kids looking at some of the electives. The reason being, here at New Life Academy, we're coming alongside you and partner with you as parents. And so, you're going to get things from us occasionally, like take 5 minutes, just look at it with your students, because you still know them better than we do. Your student may really want to take this course, and you may really go, you know what, that's a great idea. Maybe wait, and let's do this. You know, we want you to help have those conversations, because in 7th grade there gets a little bit more options, in 8th grade there gets to be a little more options, and 9th grade is high school. And high school's book is about that. I mean, same sort of format, same sort of structure, but we're introducing you guys to how we do it here at New Life as well. So you go on to do it, you log on to EagleNet, go to the home page. On the left-hand side, you will see class registration. Click on that. You will now be on the class registration page, and then you just select the courses you would like. I mean, it's a click button. We've really done a lot of hard work here. And then students will be emailed a link to the website and their login information just to maybe double check it, or if you don't have it. If you can't get in, just keep working through it, and then they'll email it to the kids. So again, we recommend in 6th grade you sit with your kids and do this the first time, because also, and here's why, now that they're in middle school, in the fall, they're being introduced to something called add drop. This will be new for them. In 6th grade, love it. Sometimes they just like to fill out the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. They come to school in the fall, they take it, you have 2 days to do it, you visit all your classes, you go through it. Maybe your son or daughter comes home and goes, I don't think I want to do this. This may not be what I thought it was. You can, as a parent, work with them, and you can change your elective courses at that point still, prior to going any further. The reason we're doing that, it can be difficult at times, but again, we're thinking down down the road.